Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Johnny. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well.
Yeah, enjoying the show?
I am. I'm enjoying more that we've taken over the studio.
We have. It's the last session of the week, the last session of the show.
We get to do whatever we want to, and we've locked Ian out.
Yeah, let's do it our way.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, what are we here for today?
We're here for Cisco Security Connector.
Yeah. So we are going to demo the Cisco Security Connector for iOS for everyone watching. This is a joint Cisco and Apple project that we did where we've created a security solution jointly with Apple to protect iOS devices that are roaming on-prem just everywhere.
Does that include cellular networks as well?
That definitely includes cellular networks as well.
That's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So whether you're on LTE, whether you're on Wi-Fi, the idea is to protect that roaming user.
That's great. And the other thing I think that's worth mentioning is that it brings a number of different areas of Cisco together on our side, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Yeah.
So I come from the AMP team, from the Advanced Threats team, with AMP, Threat Grid, and tools like that. And Johnny, you come from?
I come from the cloud security team, and we're talking about Umbrella here.
That's right.
Yeah, and we also use the Meraki MDM.
As well as the Meraki Systems Manager device management solution.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We can use others as well.
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Officially with Mobile Iron, AirWatch, and soon to be Jamf.
That's great.
Pro as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
should we dive in and show?
We should
show the viewers what we're talking about.
One of the actual requirements that came from Apple for this solution was the fact that an end user should maintain the positive end user experience that they're used to having with iOS. All right. So if we look at an iOS device, the end user experience should not change.
This is a real iOS device.
So yes, we are live right now. As you can probably see the background moving as I shake this iPad. We are live right now with a little iPad Mini 4 that is running the Cisco Security Connector. And the only change to user experience that we should ever see is if something does get blocked. So if something gets blocked, that's when the user experience should change. So if we were to go to, I don't care, we go to google.com and we start searching for anything, like let's actually make Google laugh and search for Bing. The user experience should not change, right?
That's fast, yeah.
And so if we were to go to a site that's, say, bad, like if we go in here and I've got an email, let's say it's a phishing site. So my friend Sean here from Cisco has told me that I need to check this out, and I click on a link from my email, right? That would have gone to a bad site. I'm instantly blocked by Umbrella, but I'm redirected to this block page. Now,
that's cool because you can actually see on the block page that it's due to a phishing threat.
You can, absolutely. You see right there that it is due to the phishing threat, and that's why it was blocked. And this is from Umbrella, so Johnny, tell us, is this customizable as well?
Oh yeah, you can definitely change that block page. So you can have your enterprise look and feel, so the end user will understand that it's coming from their organization. And the fact that it's explaining to the end user as well, a phishing threat here, it could also say that it's malware, or if it's a policy, if your admin is blocking gambling, let's say, websites of a gambling nature, so the end user will be able to understand what's happening.
So basically we're enforcing then policies that were traditionally enforced by what kind of product? Like
this is bad news. I mean, traditionally we're talking about proxies, VPNs for mobile devices, and the end user experience is going to be horrible. It's going to break those internet pages. It's going to slow down the communication. It's going to bug them all the time to authenticate. It's going to drain the battery. And you know what? At the end of the day, there's just ways they can get past it really easily. And so when they do, they're not protected. There's no visibility for the admins either.
So what's being used in this case? How are we just redirected to that control plane? Right. What do we do differently then with that Umbrella piece right there?
So that's really sort of quite ingenious here, and that's what we've done with Apple, because Apple has provided some APIs in iOS 11 that will allow us to hook on and override any DNS settings that the device has been given from the network it's on. And what we're doing is we're sort of hijacking that DNS and we're forcing it to go to Umbrella, because that's where Umbrella enforces at the DNS layer. So any device, anything that goes to the internet will always start with a DNS request.
So a solution that was traditionally providing content filtering, policies on users as they're roaming, right? All of that's being handled through a DNS control plane now instead of having to set up proxy settings or pack files or any of that, of that gymnastics where
don't need any of that. And we'll talk more about that.
So it is using DNS. Then what happens if I use something like Tor? So here I'm launching a Tor browser, okay, on my iPad mini. So we'll see I'm establishing a Tor circuit, right? So everything's going to go through this private connection now through a Tor entry node and come out through a Tor exit node. And as I'm going to any traffic that may be here within the Tor browser, is Umbrella going to see that?
So yeah, that's a really good point here. So Tor browsers are still a little bit problematic for Umbrella because the initial establishment of the connection of your Tor browser might be seen by Umbrella, but after that, all of the DNS requests are going to come out at the other end of the Tor browser, and that's probably where the other half of the security connector comes in play here, and it's probably worth talking about, and that's where we get the additional protection from AMP for endpoints and clarity. So let's show that.
Let's definitely show that. So the other half of this service is a function that we're calling Clarity. It does come here in the AMP for Endpoints connector, and you'll see this new tab now called the AMP for Endpoints console. You'll see this new tab called iOS Clarity, and one of the things it starts to bring to this tool that's traditionally used by incident responders and security personnel is a listing of applications that have been run or seen by the protected iOS devices, and we can sort that and we can filter it. And from there, we can also see, look, there's this Tor browser. There's some things that probably don't belong on my corporate-owned and corporate-protected systems, right?
And I noticed you changed that to least seen. So that's really useful, I guess. As an admin, I can go in and I can see apps that are hardly used, maybe rogue apps, maybe only one user's put on. And that's really great. It's going to allow the admin to see that.
It does allow me to filter based on most observed and least observed. I'm able to filter down on that. But the best part about this is when I actually pivot out of this list of applications that I'm going to do right now, right? And I'm going to click on App Trajectory for the Red Onion Tor browser here. So as I click on App Trajectory, hopefully the screen will update and the users will be watching this part. Right? I've clicked on App Trajectory, and what I see now is, based on this app, which is actually the Red Onion Tor-powered web browser, right? I see that there has been activity, and I can tell right along this time slider where more activity or less activity has occurred, and I can actually see that there's been traffic coming out right now today, coming from this iPad mini, and if there were other devices that were also using this same application, they would also be in this list as well. Right? And I can even expand down here, and we see that we've still got full visibility as an incident responder now into every URL, even the IP addresses that are being reached out to from that Tor browser, and have the ability to pull in the investigations, right?
Wow. So that's really showing us a lot, and that's great. So is what you're saying here, this is what might be missing in Umbrella. We might not be able to see that in the Umbrella logs, but we can see it through Clarity?
That is correct. So in our investigations, we can still see that the connections have occurred, even if we weren't able to actively enforce that policy beforehand using Umbrella, that's where Umbrella really protects us a lot. If we're going somewhere that's a bad DNS destination, it can stop it, it can proxy us, right? It can allow us to go, if it's a clean site, which you're going to talk about soon, right?
Yeah, we'll take a look at that. But what I'm guessing then is, because we've got visibility into all of these connections and the apps that have been used, as an admin, you could go and then enforce that app to not be used, or even delete it remotely and stuff like that. Because these are supervised devices, right?
These are supervised devices. These are not consumer devices. Apple uses that supervision designation to determine that this is not a consumer version of this iPad. It is configured to be owned and operated by a business instead.
And that's probably why the enterprise, and Apple, I guess, as well, and you and me, have no problem having all this visibility into all the connections that have been made from the device.
Absolutely.
It's an enterprise-owned device.
Exactly, and this level of visibility is not available to the consumer version, or an iOS device that is not in supervised mode.
Got it.
But if we go back to our display here, I wonder what else is happening on this iPad mini. So I'm going to pivot by clicking on that iPad, right? And that's going to bring me into what we call device trajectory. So now I can see what all is happening on this device on a regular basis. And I see mail's been calling out, and I see that the Tor browser has been actively making connections, and I may even have other applications that are going to show up along this in the time slider, right? So there's a lot of applications right there, right? And in some of I could then pivot in through those applications and find some other activity that is maybe even unacceptable. And I'm going to use one in particular here, if it was clicking, called Hi By Music. Now, this is one that we actually found during live testing. We actually found this Hi By Music app in live testing when we were in early stages of pre-beta with Apple on this. And we found this app, and this app was actually making some unusual calls. Right, so this is an app that we actually had on one of our devices that we were loading up, and one of the things we found was it was making this connection out to this 121, right, 41 address. We didn't understand what this was. Why was it calling out here every 2 minutes? This was actually calling out to a website based on IP address, not DNS. We want to investigate that further. So one of the things you can do right from this console is launch this into our new AMP visibility tool, now just known as Cisco Visibility, which is an incident response tool that allows us to pull data related to artifacts from many, many different modules or services, including Virus Total, Talos Intelligence. We already have AMP in there, and we even have linkages then to, if I click here, I take a look at this IP, and I could actually then launch this right into Umbrella's Investigate and try to get more information about this IP and what Umbrella may know about this IP given the amount of traffic that Umbrella gets to see
Look at that.
every day.
Look, it's something from China.
We find out this happens to be related to an Alibaba hosted service, right, in Shenzhou, China, if I said that correctly. And if I were to actually go to that website...
That's what I was wondering, if you were brave enough to try and actually go there.
I think I will. Let me pull that actual URL here. I'm going to actually see what it looks like if I were to go there, just so we can see what is this application on my corporate device talking to. That looks like Klingon to me, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that's
looks
definitely
suspicious.
not English. So there's something bad going on with this application. We definitely want to start pulling that application off then.
That's interesting. Now, one other question I have. Can you show me an example of maybe a domain or a request that user went through the Tor browser to see where they're going? And I'll try and look for that in Umbrella to see if they really did
that
manage
sounds
to bypass
great. Let's
it.
actually pick through our list then, right? Okay. So if I can filter through this list pretty easily.
You know what? That looks interesting. That one there.
Porka.com.
Okay.
So I see in Tor that there have been 20 connections to porka.com. That does not look to me like a domain that my users should possibly be going to.
And you know what? If you copy that porka,
why don't you go? Why don't you go ahead and drive?
Okay. Let's copy that porka now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just go back to the Investigate console where you were before, and I'm going to paste it in.
So Investigate console that you're in right now, this belongs to which service, which solution?
So this is part of Umbrella.
Oh, is that why it says Cisco Umbrella in the upper left there?
I guess so, yeah. There you go, look. So porka.com is typically going to be blocked by Umbrella. You can see it's in the Umbrella block list. It's a malicious site. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to our reporting, if it lets me.
Sorry for my mouse here.
Okay, yep.
There we go.
And let's just do an activity search. And
this looks nice.
Yes, so we're seeing a whole load of things here. Now I can see we've got activity from, from roaming clients on laptops, mobile devices. Let's just narrow down our search a bit. And let's apply it only to our mobile devices.
Looks like you're filtering like you're shopping on Amazon.
Exactly
that looks really nice.
Yeah, exactly like that. Now, if we wanted to, we can see, what's been allowed, what's been blocked. So if I wanted to, I could take it further and say, show me only the blocked traffic, because No, sorry.
That's destination list, I
let's
see.
do it
Okay.
up here. Okay, let's do blocks.
Okay, so what's been blocked?
Okay, I guess you've got no destination list. Okay, we've got plenty of stuff here. Now, the other thing I could look for if I wanted to is I could search for...
So look at this right here. It's saying these were blocked from the iPad because it was social networking in this case, or phishing up near the
yes,
top.
and that probably goes back to what you tried before. You clicked on that link from the email and you got blocked.
I did.
So we can see all of that here as well.
Okay.
The other thing is if I just if I type in pork, so there's no results for porker. So
Right.
what you said before, I believe you now.
Okay, so the DNS requests going through the Tor browser don't follow the normal system requests.
No, and that's why you've got the added value
with clarity.
With clarity, exactly.
All right, that makes total
Yeah.
sense.
Now, if we wanted to, we could also run... Yeah,
could
go
you
on.
see this here? It also says that there's something there called proxied. What is that?
Okay, let's clear our filters. Yeah, let's just go back to mobile devices only.
Okay.
Even though Umbrella works at the DNS layer, and you've got the great end user experience, we also do have a proxy, but it's a selective proxy. So anything that's sort of falling into the grey area, or risky sites that we're not sure about, we can't determine for sure if to allow or block, they will be redirected to our intelligent proxy. It's selective inspection, that's why we call it our intelligent proxy. And you can see here I filtered on...
That does sound very intelligent. Can I ask a question about that then?
Absolutely.
Okay, so does that mean that if something is allowed, that it's also going through the proxy?
No. Well, you know what? It could go through the proxy and still be allowed. But if it gets allowed at the DNS layer, it does not need to go through the proxy.
So I won't be slowed down or hindered if it's a known good service that I'm
Exactly.
reaching out to from my mobile device, right?
Yeah.
I'll go directly to that cloud
That's the
service
point.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And if it's blocked, am I being proxied, or that was going to a block page,
No,
right?
you're just being redirected to our block page at the DNS layer.
And if I am being proxied, it's not using a proxy setting on the endpoint.
Nope, it's all done automatically through a redirect from the DNS response. So there's nothing else to configure other than what we've spoke about up to now.
So that does sound very intelligent.
It is intelligent. And you know what? It is a proxy, and the end user experience when requests get proxied may have an impact, but at the end of the day, what's going to get proxied? Shady sites, risky sites, probably not your typical business critical browsing. Maybe stuff going to hi-fi music, things like that.
But much of that traffic's going to be encrypted, isn't it?
Yes. So you can also decrypt. So our intelligent proxy supports decryption. And the other great thing about it is that even though it works like any other man-in-the-middle, decrypt, re-encrypt, and which requires a certificate, the great thing about this is that when you roll out the solution to your mobile devices, that includes rolling out of the SSL certificate as well.
It does.
So,
Okay.
so that's totally transparent to the end user as well.
And all of this is happening with a DNS control plane and not having to leverage WCCP or any other network magic.
Yep, absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Nothing like that. And I think actually going back to clarity, I think if we just go back and have a quick look at some of those requests that we see here, if we go...
You can expand all of it right here.
Yeah, let's just go and expand it. I bet we can see some HTTPS ones there as well.
Oh, right here is HTTPS.
So,
and I'm seeing the full URL within that HTTPS packet, which
Yeah.
I should not be able to see, should I?
So again, this goes back to clarity, doesn't it? Because we're getting full visibility into all the requests that go out, regardless of what Umbrella sees.
Yes.
And this isn't the payload. This is just the metadata.
This is just the metadata.
So,
This is just the URL, but the full URL, which normally would have been hidden.
Yeah,
That's
and that
fantastic.
includes HTTPS as well.
Okay, well, let's go back to Umbrella, though,
Yeah,
because I know
yeah.
you were showing me something there.
So yeah, let's have a quick look. We've got a little bit of time left.
We can go over time. We own the studio.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, as long as there's people still at the show, we can go on. So the last couple of things I want to show you is a different type of report we can run here is a security activity report, and here as well. So give me the name of one of your mobile devices.
ATW, iPad.
There you go.
There we
It
go.
is. So I just start filtering.
Beautiful.
And I can see only security activity as well. So for example, if I wanted to focus and search maybe for only a phishing incident, I can see that here.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, yep, and I can drill down, and I'll see here that this specific incident. There are actually 6 events or 6 requests that went out. I guess you pressed on that link a few times.
Maybe I have,
Yeah,
yes.
you didn't learn your lesson the first time. But yeah, you can see all of that.
And I see the DNS record type is AAAA.
Yes,
So
that means that we are fully
IPv6 compliant, aren't we?
we are. Yeah,
yes, we are.
We are. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, another thing that's useful to know as well, very quickly, without going into too many details, if we take a look at our umbrella policy, we'll see that you can set up policies that are specific for mobile devices.
Well,
So-
if you look at Woland policy, you'll see that I have my daughter filtered right through here. There's only one identity associated. It happens to be
Oh,
her.
right. And is it a
iPhone.
Is it a mobile?
Yeah,
entity?
it is
There
her,
you go.
my child's iPhone.
There you go. So yeah, so you can have specific policies for mobile devices, or they can be together with your general policies as well.
And as I've done here in this screen, you can see I have a specific policy for just one of the mobile devices, not even all of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So how did the mobile devices get populated here into the dashboard?
One of the terrific things about this solution, and especially when you're using Meraki Systems Manager to do the device management, is it's all seamless to the end user. The Systems Manager, the MDM, is going to push out the application, which is Cisco Security Connector, along with the license that belongs to the organization so that it can start in the background, right, and not have to interact at all with the end user. When
So-
that configuration
Hold on,
comes
hold on,
down,
hold on.
yeah.
Are you telling me this is totally transparent to the end user?
This is completely transparent to the end
The
user.
installation, the deployment,
The installation,
rolling out,
it automatically will register, get certificates, and join the 2 services in the cloud.
That is great.
Which is Clarity on the AMP cloud and Umbrella in the Umbrella cloud.
Wow. So yeah, I think we can actually see that in the dashboard as well. If we go back to Umbrella, we've got here a list of all the mobile devices that have been provisioned, I guess is the right word, because this is just done transparently by using APIs that join together Umbrella and the MDM.
That is correct if it is
and-
Meraki Systems
Meraki,
Manager.
right.
That's one of the benefits of using a Cisco device manager versus one of the third parties that was just on the screen.
Right.
Right, is that for them, we do have to manually download configurations and upload those configurations into their tools versus that unique bidirectional API we have between our own internal products at Cisco.
Right, but even uploading and downloading of profiles and configurations,
piece of cake.
Yeah, it's quick.
It's a piece of cake,
And then
super easy.
all of this, you do the same or similar process for Clarity as well.
The almost exact same user
Yeah.
experience.
Great, it's amazing.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we've shown everything. Anything else that you can think
No,
of?
I think we have, and I think we do need to return the studio to the people that are banging
dear.
on the door.
They're going to drag us out in a
Yes,
minute.
they are. All right. Well, thank you,
Okay.
Johnny. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
hope you have a good Cisco Live.
You too.
All right.
See you next
Thank you.
year.